stocking this aisle. And that what Meredith put on there today about a phone tree. No.
A what?
A phone tree.
A phone tree?
Yeah. No, because not for me, not unless I change my mind on it.
What are you talking about, a phone tree?
In other words, where if something goes on, like I may be responsible for calling you, you may be responsible for calling somebody else and letting them know stuff. No.
Well, that is a good thought, but yeah,
Not at this time, because, I mean, I don't want my information out there.
Not on the computer, no.
No, I'm not on the phone either. There's torn fingernail. But I mean, yeah, to some people it's gonna be a good idea. But from what I've already been reading on Facebook, people are getting nasty.
I called you earlier.
Well, see, I just found it.
Oh, okay. Because I was going to ask you if they were going to have a meeting tonight. It's cold and I better cut mine down. It's kind of chilly in here.
Well, see, that's the reason I wore my outer. Shelley said it would probably be about an hour tonight. So.
Oh, really? Maybe.
If they depended on, you know.
That's what I'm saying, maybe.
That's the reason I'm saying, who knows in this town. Anybody can put me down, whatever they want to, but I'm going to probably start speaking out, probably getting a little bit rough with it too.
What is that, a water sprinkler or something?
Yeah, that's a water sprinkler.
Oh,
That's
wow.
the camera. YouTube.
Yeah. I don't think it's on yet.
Won't be tonight.
It won't be tonight.
Mm-mm.
Lord, it's been hot one day and cold the next. You don't know what
Well,
to
it's
wear.
supposed to be back up in the 80s, what, tomorrow and
Oh. That's what I'm saying.
Thursday.
You don't know what kind of clothes to wear. I mean, you know, it's cold one day and hot the next and warm and rainy and sunshine and
You got a Band-Aid?
Huh?
Have you got a Band-Aid?
In the back of the car. In the trunk.
You go get them?
What did you do?
I don't know how I done it. Pull my fingernail off.
I don't know if there's any truth to it or not, but I've heard that Mike Wallace has sold the ball field down here, and there's gonna be a development put in down there.
Well, we heard that he sold the mill and the ball field.
Yeah, I know the mill's been sold, but now I don't know about the back half of it.
I know they're looking for somebody to mow the grass. If I was able to, I'd do it, but I just think I can't do it no more. I used to do it, but I can't do it no more. Finding somebody, you know, that's reliable to help you. Good luck on that. I was told that they fixed that up down there, it's gonna put my pillow or something like that in it. That's what I was told. I don't know.
And the live stream is already on. Just FYI.
How true that is, I could tell you. You know how rumors get started.
I hope they've got it fixed.
I did my best. I'm not gonna say it's fixed because I don't know, but it's definitely better than it was last time.
What'd you find?
Do what now?
What'd you find?
I think it was a microphone issue, but that microphone's not out anymore, so I can't say for sure that's what it was.
Well, those bad microphones, they had them put up, so I don't know if they've gotten back out again or not. But there was one or two bad ones.
I don't have a clue. I don't know. These two work, so they should be okay for tonight. I appreciate it.
Hey, well. You doing okay?
Better than I deserve. My boy's home from college. I don't know what to do. Boy's home for school. Don't know what to do. He's a sophomore in high school. And he needs to get a job.
You know, I've been talking about this virus, but I think there's more going on than what they leave now. I really and truly believe that.
Yeah.
There's more to it than what they lead to. This stuff is absolutely. They're talking about now. They're talking about what they call a shutdown. With Kentucky and New York and all, they done went to it. You can't even go out of your house. It's coming down. It's gonna get worse.
What in the world are you doing?
I don't know what I'm doing. I hung it on something.
What's wrong with butterfly Band-Aid?
That's fine.
Don't have to
At
be.
least I can keep it from getting hung again. I'll tear it off when I get home.
I'm going to the bathroom.
I hear that.
Gary?
How you doing?
Hey, how are y'all?
Yeah, I really believe that. I believe there's more to this than what they're putting out. Well, you know, if you look back, every 4 years when election time, something comes out. I mean, some kind of virus. How you doing?
Oh, good.
You look like you're exhausted.
I got a headache. I've had a migraine for 2 days. I'm just dealing with it.
You look like you're... He doesn't... I'll whoop him if he did.
No, I just had a migraine for 2 days. So I'm just dealing with it, moving on.
Oh, no. That's bad news.
Yeah, there's no problem.
We went in... It was funny, we were in Food Line the other day. I mean, they were packed. I mean, they were lines. Every cash register had lines. I just started coughing. You ought to see the people move.
Well, it's allergy season. People need to calm down.
I started, I said, what is nice? I've never seen such.
It's a mess.
I mean, I can understand you buying the stuff that you need. I can understand that. But why in the God's going are you going to overdo it? If you overdo it, what are you going to do for the next person?
They do the same thing when it snows around.
I mean, it's ridiculous.
Girl, you should stay at home.
I mean, they buying toilet paper like it ain't gonna be no more. Well, if it comes down that bad,
You should stay at home.
that's just it. If it comes down that bad, I got a hose pipe outside.
I'm here. This is going to concern me. So I'm
Guess
here
what?
to hear what they got.
I'm not ashamed.
Oh, it's concerning too.
My street. Yep.
I mean, I'm sorry. I mean, people need to realize we conserve it for the next person. If they ain't no more, then how this next person gonna?
Do what?
And the next, yeah.
We'll see what they say. Yeah.
Who
I
knows?
should have. I couldn't say.
All
I'm not
the
coming
meetings
here.
and stuff, they ain't no.
You can watch it on the computer.
Lord,
And these
no.
restaurants, you know,
This meeting, I don't
Then they gonna shut down, all you gonna
The
do
town
is
board meeting was
take
canceled.
out
All
the
the
drive
rest was
through.
canceled.
what you
I'm sorry, I
gonna
can't hear you with his big fat mouth.
Because I don't know, I don't understand why this meeting wasn't canceled. The town board meeting was canceled, this one should have been canceled. More than 10 people walk in here, they're gonna have to cancel.
do? People just use a little bit of common sense.
People from
But
the-
you can't.
But then they're gonna have to cancel.
You
it
couldn't
because
get a
they're
half a
gonna
million
allow
people to
right
use
now.
some of this
I
if
don't
you had
think they
to.
will.
Hey, Miss Alden.
You in trouble, you in trouble,
Hey, Miss
God,
Jane,
you in
hello.
trouble.
Fine, how are you,
What?
lady?
Oh! Beating on me. Hey, I go in my car and I'll still turn it up. I'm kinda
Hey,
shy.
You know we're all supposed to sit 6 feet apart, so you gotta go back up there. We really are, 6 feet apart.
Watch the news.
Me and Dave live in the same house, I think we'll be.
Yeah, me and Ashley can too. We're fine. It says 6 feet apart.
I don't watch the news. The news depresses me.
Oh Lord, I've been watching it like crazy all day long.
It depresses me, so I don't watch it. I don't have to watch it. I have a neighbor that tells me every day.
Yeah, yeah.
Mike across the street from me.
All these people. I had trouble getting the trains. I had trouble getting across the railroad. So, who are board members? Are we all just spectators?
Who are you?
I'm having a planning board meeting.
I'm a resident of the town.
Me
Okay.
too. We are too. We're the residents.
Oh, okay. Well, we're going to try to keep our social distance a little bit.
What are
so-
you gonna do when there's more than 10 people in here?
I don't know.
Yeah, the meeting really should have been canceled.
Well, the manager wanted to go ahead and do it.
Well, he needs to call and talk to the governor then. I can speak, I'm an adult.
I know you.
Okay, I can speak, I'm an adult. I don't need anybody to tell me to be quiet.
You want to come up here since you're going to be a participant.
She says she's the
Would
planning
you
board.
like diocese, or are you comfortable just being?
I'm comfortable.
Okay.
It's not a big location.
How did you even know it was tonight? We were having a planning board meeting tonight.
It's public information.
Yeah, I know, I had it put on the website, although I noticed they didn't get it up on the bulletin board.
It's all over Facebook too.
Oh, well, I didn't have anything to do with that. Well, I'm glad Facebook works.
It does?
Hey, how you?
Good. Shelley?
How you?
I'm Kim's wife.
Okay. No.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah,
No,
nice to
we're
meet
good.
you. Yeah, I
I'm just
know.
gonna squeeze behind you.
Okay.
How are you?
I'm fine, I think I do remember. So we can sort of spread out. This is
Okay.
the applicant. So
How are
these-
you?
These are some public people.
Great. Great.
So,
Do you behave yourself?
I don't think Charlie's
Yeah.
around.
I've been staying at home, so I come out here.
I'm gonna go back up here.
Okay.
We'll have a big house apart.
So,
I guess we're supposed to
okay.
apart. We gotta be apart.
No, you're fine, you're in the same
Check your
house.
information and add, you know, best contact number
Yeah.
and
Don't you feel bad for me?
email address.
Oh,
You don't.
You live with her, don't you?
I feel bad for Ashley.
Shelley.
Hey, how you doing?
He's gotta put up with you for 2 weeks.
So let's,
Our house is
sort of
big. I
space
go to one floor,
ourselves
he
a
goes to
little bit.
another.
You're so funny. I haven't been in here until I've always been this way.
I have to take that out. I have to take that. I'm fine, we're not,
Not touching.
we're not touching, so, no, I think probably since, 2011. And I was thinking, we actually had a planning board meeting.
Well, if you gonna get sick, then you'll just have to
We
get
had a planning
sick.
board meeting on the We didn't have a forum, like we had it anyway. Oh. Vicki, right? Or you Kim?
I'm Kim.
I'm asking her just to write any.
How you, sweetie?
Good, how are y'all?
Real good.
There's Nadine.
Contact with.
I think,
Oh. There she is. Okay.
I think.
New contact thing, make sure we got everything.
I got a question for you.
He's full of your questions.
No. I took some stuff apart yesterday, and,
There she is. Oh, this is on.
Mark, I've talked to him. Hey, how you all doing?
Sent me a text message, he'll be here.
Okay, what?
but if
I don't think it's gonna
you
be
wanna
Charlie
do like
Brown. I
a
don't know if
cash
you wanna,
donation,
move around as much. Let me ask these people.
who do you do
Nadine will
I don't know, we're trying to work that out.
let you know
And I'll
that
let you know as soon as we
we're
do.
here.
There he is.
It is what it is.
that? I'm willing, to help out as much as I
Feel bad,
can.
maybe sat here.
You mean to sit here?
Yeah. Well, I don't know, we were trying to keep our social distance. Where, well, you do whatever you want.
Sure.
I don't know.
Sharon broke up the job.
This is just Brown City.
Oh, Angel,
Well,
there
we
he is.
can call him if we need to.
Can we have that as a fifth? Can we do a phone call as a fifth?
Hey.
I don't know, they're coming up with all this stuff nowadays.
I don't know, but this live feed is on.
Cool.
Okay.
Because
well,
it's people's text.
all right.
That's why we got the feedback. How you doing?
No, there's no feedback. It's all been
The
fixed.
hum? Oh, I hear an echo. That must be just the echo of the room then from here.
If I disappear, it will be.
You disappeared. Where you disappeared?
If I can.
You all pass this around, we'll just keep them. Okay, always interested.
No, not really.
I don't know, you get the audience.
The handbook.
You're my source of information. Oh, okay.
What's your name?
So is the mic on?
Yes.
Okay, so the mic is on.
You're gonna be on the mic?
Are they on? Yep.
You press the button.
Bigger version.
Oh, I thought it was just me and my vision, because I was
I
like.
got all that. Oh, you got this?
I can't see with these glasses, I can't see the
You wait till you're done.
Yeah. You know, I just took what the old time old, agenda says, you know, we can decide.
How you doing, Miss Smith? All right. You look like eyes.
Did I put that down?
They're all that way. My wife has her hands on
Oh,
me.
somebody said
You
Jim.
look good in it.
Oh, I made
I
the,
was looking at it too.
did I make the?
Jimmy doing okay?
Yeah, good.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
Oh, that's their fault.
Thank you for pointing that out.
You're welcome.
Excuse me.
But I have to take that, you're gonna have to bear with me a little bit. Although.
Pass around the coffee. Everybody look at you. That's all.
I got my hand sanitizer.
You doing your 6 feet?
I was asked to, so.
Oh.
May I borrow your pen?
I thought, okay, I'm saying,
Thank you.
I don't think it all It would come off and probably have a lady.
Yes. I asked you.
I can.
So, for ADA certificate, we have to have it mic'd so that that speaker can pick it up.
Okay.
So if you don't mind, I'll set that up.
Hey, look.
Is this it? Yes.
I think the lights are.
Hold on, ready?
Yes.
Thank you.
Kill me.
It started, but my cell phone's right here.
I can't read, don't listen. No.
See, I
Don't
think
you talk to him
I
like
think it's
that.
the people in the crowd. I think it is that cell phone.
You help me.
Yeah.
Got it.
There's.
Yes, ma'am, that's fine. And then when you get ready to
Oh,
speak, if you'll just.
I did not even recognize you.
That's me.
I did
Who's
not
that fellow
recognize
sitting there
you.
beside him?
I don't know who he
Do I
is.
have to use that? Madam, I can. Did I do?
Two eyes. Just like these.
Two eyes.
Okay, it's 7 o'clock. I'd like to call this meeting of the Landis Planning Board to order. Let's stand and pledge allegiance to the flag.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Shelley, I showed myself, and Kim's home, and Mark Cannell is present, Charlie Brown is absent. It's going to constitute 4. Yes. Item number 4 is approval of the minutes from January of 2019, February of 2019, and December of 2019. And I'm guessing that's all the minutes that we've had.
That was all that I could find. I was hopeful if you all remembered something, but that was all I could find.
I would like to say I know for sure, but we stopped receiving minutes years ago. So I'm guessing you all had an opportunity to look over these. Is there any additions or corrections or any conversation around the minutes? Okay, I'll make a motion that we approve those 3 months minutes as written.
I'll second.
Agree.
Okay.
Yeah, 2 seconds, right?
Mhm.
Mark.
Can't be long. Doesn't
Mark,
matter.
technically.
Same difference.
We eyed together.
Okay, Shelley, do you know of old business?
I could not find any based on the December minutes. I think you set your dates, that was the big thing.
And I think that's probably all that happened. We did have that, we approved the, setback variance for
The swimming pool.
the swimming pool.
Which I couldn't do, which y'all did.
Yes.
Approve.
Yeah, we did approve that.
Correct.
We did the dates and the pool, and that's what we did the last one.
We had a special meeting in December, the very last, like the day before New Year's or something, wasn't it? I mean, it was like right there, because he said that needed to happen before January. But there's not any minutes around that, I'm guessing.
No, and it looks like from December 17th, he just added the 2020 dates that we were gonna have this year onto the December 17th one.
Right, but see, we didn't have a quorum at that meeting, and that's why we had a called meeting that last week in December.
Right, exactly, and he just added this to
Yeah.
this. Yeah.
Okay, item number
You got a
6 is.
question on that?
Yes, ma'am, I'm sorry.
Y'all gonna have to get a little bit closer, pull those mics closer or something.
There's no mics up there, that's why you.
There are mics playing
Oh,
up
are they?
there.
Oh, my
Little
bad.
ones.
My apologies.
Okay, is that better?
Is that better? Can you hear?
I think it sounds great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, Shelley, item number 6 is new business, and since you're staff, I'll let you bring it.
All right, thank you, Chair. I know you don't want to get too close on these. You have, as new business, the first item is the review of preliminary subdivision plat for a 7-acre subdivision proposed on West Laurel Street. The applicant is joining us here tonight. This subdivision has been under review since somewhere in the late summer and early fall. So it was time to bring it before the planning board, and I don't know, a little rundown on preliminary subdivisions, exactly what it says. It's preliminary. They can't sell lots or anything. Really what it gives them is applicant, they can start on this construction part of it. Under your ordinance, they've already been seeing some of the construction drawings. So we're going through that kind of process right now, and then you all tonight would recommend, either not recommend or recommend that the board look at this preliminary plat. It does go to the town board. and only then would they be able to start any kind of construction. And, you know, construction or development means any land clearing activities or anything. So they haven't been doing anything, but they've been very cooperative. They've been going through the process and meeting with the town representative and the consulting engineer on it. If you will refer to your staff report, you know, this is for, you know, we've got some larger ones over here for you to look at. I know the small stuff is just for the packet, but, you know, we always like to have the bigger versions on it. This is just a subdivision. It's not a rezoning. It would be permitted under the zoning ordinance, really as it is. What they're proposing to do, they purchased 6 lots from the town in 2018. These same lots were deeded to the town in 2011 from the FCL Family Limited Partnerships, which was DC Land. Wellstream proposes to reconfigure 6 lots into 7 lots. The original configuration had some of them that didn't really meet the subdivision zoning ordinance, and some of them were really too big. As they're currently presented, they range from 9,400 square feet to over 12,000 square feet. And for an R8, which is the minimum lot size, is 8,000, so they well exceed the minimum lot sizes. And like I say, this would be for single-family development. There is water and sewer in the neighborhood, but it would have to be extended down Laurel Street to serve these lots. Laurel Street is currently unopened, but the developer is proposing to deed an extra 15 feet off of his property to enlarge the street to 50-foot right-of-way, which is the minimum size for a DOT road. The town builds their roads to the DOT standards. Now, when you look at these lots, they go back to 1901. It's quite something to see all really Landis laid out in a city plan from 1901 that DC Lynn laid out. You really recognize it. It hadn't changed all that. It shows all the grid systems. It shows all these streets, and so that's kind of what you're seeing. The area is not in one of the designated watersheds, but it will trigger the phase 2 post-construction stormwater stuff, and you're going to hear a lot of talk about stormwater. The construction drawings do show some on-site stormwater, very modest stormwater construction. We're not talking about ponds here. We're talking about sand filters and trenches and very modest types of stormwater stuff. You know, we've looked at these. You know, this is a major subdivision because it's more than 4 lots. If it was 4 lots or under, that's a minor subdivision, although the subdivision administrator can bring those kind of small lots to the planning board if it's necessary. But generally, those are done more staff-wise. But they're still reviewed based on standards in the ordinance. It's like a checklist. You go down and they've done this, and this, and this. So it has been reviewed and it is compliant, and the town's consulting engineer, who's with is Wes Webb from Allie Williams in Kannapolis, and he's really consulted the town on the stormwater type issues that present themselves. Also watershed. Construction documents, like I said earlier, we've seen some of those. Those are still in the works. Submission of any kind of final plat will go through a similar type of review. You'll see it again, and the town board does it. Now, do things change between the preliminary plats and the final plats? Yes. Even, I think you've seen some plats in the past, some final plats that have been changed even after they get final. Sometimes they come back again because they've been changed again. Traditionally, how you're guaranteed for improvements is that you get what they call a performance guarantee, that they will complete all the required infrastructure before the final plats are approved. But your ordinance and state law allows that they can present these financial guarantees, they can then get the final plats recorded, but you hold the financial guarantees until everything is completed. I know you've seen stuff, some of these newer subdivisions, they don't quite have the final pavement on them, you know, they got the pavements, you know, so that's the kind of thing you do, you see it. One of the things that in the review process that came up was that your subdivision standards requires curb and guttering and sidewalks with 3-foot planting strips. Because the developer is only utilizing one part of the road, it would mean that we could only make them comply with that part of it on one section of the road. There also is no there is curb and guttering across side of the street, but nothing on side to connect this at all. So he has requested a waiver, and I think that was in your packet, where he's requesting a waiver not to install the curb and guttering sidewalks in the adjacent area. Let's see. Staff does recommend the approval of, and when I say staff, I don't mean just me, I mean the water and sewer and the electrical people and the consulting engineer. They recommend approval of the plat. We still have to go through again the construction documents with the following provisions. Now, this is where, you know, these are suggestions. This is where you would decide if these are the provisions that you want, or you want to add something that you want to take it back. Understand that town board can, you only recommend anything all the time.
It's from this speaker right here. I have my phone set on airplane mode. We're trying to see. Today we did have somebody come in and look at it. So they thought they had fixed it. It's a learning curve. Not real sure what the feedback is coming from. So, and it'll go away. May come back.
So, we're down to the staff recommendations. I'd like to go over some of those. That the developer agrees 15 feet of road frontage to increase the right-of-way on West Laurel Street from 35 to 50 feet. Developer agrees to relocate the existing sewer line and manhole within the prescribed street. Developer agrees to install a paved 20-foot access between lots 5 and 6. Is that on your plans? That's for the turnaround. Instead of putting a cul-de-sac at the end, it's for the service or emergency turnaround. Developer agrees to create a homeowners association, HOA, to own and maintain the stormwater structures and any kind of buffers that might be applicable. Developer agrees to make provisions to connect the existing driveways into the new street. There are kind of 2 driveways that already exist on Laurel Street. We'll go ahead and connect those. Developer agrees to install or to reimburse the town for the required water, sewer lines, street lights, electrical service light, including their required connections and underground conduits necessary to serve the development. Staff also supports the waiver of the curb and guttering and sidewalks requirement because there is no such infrastructure on sides, streets, or in the nearby vicinity for connection, and to install the curb and guttering would worsen the stormwater runoff. And on that plat, you may notice at the very end, as you drop down, that is Grants Creek there's a sewer line, there is also a floodplain down there, but it drops off. So you're not really in the floodplain, but I think all of us, that's one thing I think we've all kind of learned in the past, has been very careful about, increasing the stormwater runoff for floodplains and things like that. I think that's just something we're gonna have to learn to do. Because one of the phase 2 provisions is stormwater from the lot has to remain on the lots. And you may, so you have to do that. One thing that may not be familiar to you is the next part of this, the statement of reasonable justification and consistency. State law now requires that when you make approval for subdivisions or rezonings or variances or anything, you've got to be able to justify them. You've got to be able to back them up with that they comply with your ordinance, that they comply with any of your plans, be they transportation plans or stormwater plans or ARC plans or whatever. So you will see in this all this statement of reasonable justification and consistency. And I cannot emphasize more that even if you make changes to some of the provisions, or if you choose not to recommend this, you're going to have a reason to do that. And I don't know if you've seen that now. It's been in effect now for a couple of years. The proposed development is in compliance with the Landis zoning and subdivision ordinance, including the zoning map, because it's R8 and meets those criteria. The town's responsibility for stormwater enforcement would be fulfilled. The town is required to maintain that stormwater runoff is controlled, and this development will trigger that because it's over an acre. Although Landis does not have a comprehensive plan use, the century-old map 1 of CA Lynn includes the present-day grid system and the lot layer of the proposed area. Mr. Lynn envisioned the development of residential housing on the platted lots in his 1901 city plan. Landis still maintains much of the street grid system and residential lots depicted on the map, which is true. It does. So you'll see at the bottom we go to the planning board action. And this is kind of straight out of your ordinance. This is what, in reviewing the plan, you may make the recommendation, the following recommendation. Approve the plan as presented. Approve of the plat with conditions, provisions, or stipulations. Or you can disapprove the plan. We do now include suggested motions on all these activities. And I know if you all happen to be English teachers, they kind of run on, but I can't help it. They do that. And the law says you've got to put all this stuff in here and to read it out loud. So just prepping it. And so the bold printing is, the motion to require. So you have to include it. So you have one that's favorable, and then there's a second one. If you do not recommend it, there's one for that you'll have to fill in a reason. So there's two things with this one. This one has you approve the preliminary plat with the listed provisions. And the second part is you waiver the curb and guttering and sidewalks required. Now, if you want to change that anywhere, you can do that too. But these are just, this was a suggested thing. I have found that this works pretty well for planning boards, but it still leaves you the opportunity to make your own decisions. But just remember, you got to be reasonable and you got to be consistent. You got to be able to back it up. Maybe the board has some questions for me on any specific things. Like say the applicant, David Tribble, is here. He's the one that wrote the letter. If you have some questions of him, I think this would be appropriate to ask for comments. Or if you want to have somebody from the public.
Discussion among the board before when you hear from Mr. Tibbles, if you want to present something, you want to hear from him first.
Daniel, you got some questions.
Mr. Tibbles, would you like to step up and you can speak your piece and then you can sit back and listen to us speak ours. How about that?
You bet. So, yeah, my name is David Tibbles. Thank you for being able to present today to the board and town members as well. Welcome tonight. So, just a little history on the project. I'm the representative for the developer, Wellspring Carolina Investments. We initially were intrigued with the property that was for sale by the town, which was 6 Back in December of 2018, I had some dialogue with the previous planner and gotten a letter stating we believe that the property could accommodate between 7 and 8 lots. And we then proceeded with that letter stating what we believe we could do with closing on the property and preparing the plans. Our first submittal was in April of last year, and there were some changes made. We've gotten comments twice through the engineer, and believe we're pretty close to hopefully a plan that is hopefully acceptable to the town. Part of the process was working with the county fire marshal to making sure the access for vehicles had an adequate turnaround by utilizing what we call a hammerhead design. It actually reduces the impervious area that would normally be part of a cul-de-sac. A lot of times it's used in subdivision design, but again, it allows for safe vehicle turnaround at the end of the road. And did also want to speak a little bit to the stormwater question. The stormwater plan has trenches. They're called infiltration trenches that would be about as wide as these two desks put together and filled with large gravel that basically would sit on grade, and the water would transition into these ditches and be held and contained, so that what's called the pre-development stormwater that falls on the site, if it was as it is today, all wooded, and once it's cleared and graded and grassed, then there's a post-development speed that the water hits and leaves the site. And the design is such that the pre and the post-development storm design, the 2 and the 10-year storm, match the exit velocity and volume of stormwater on the site. And by using these, which they're called low-impact stormwater design methods, or BMPs, best management practices, it satisfies the requirement, but it also doesn't require us to build a stormwater pond that you sometimes see that attracts mosquitoes and challenges some maintenance over the long term. So that's really just in a nutshell. I wanted to share. Again, appreciate all Shelley's work in bringing us up to speed, and open for any questions on the design or intent with the plan.
David, with that being said, with the drainage system you're talking about, is it going to be kind of the between lots? Is it frontal lots? With that drainage system, where are you talking about placing that?
It's actually in between the lots.
Okay.
It's in between the lots, and the specific system would be all on one lot. There are large side yards. Do a lot of work in other towns where there are smaller side yards, but these are a little bit larger side yards than other urban areas. But the stormwater systems would be on individual lots, but they would be maintained by the homeowners association. So as part of our funding of the project, we would fund reserves that in the life cycle for a stormwater pond, or not a pond, but a facility. What we're talking about is somewhere between 10 to 15 years. We then need to remove the rock, remove any debris or anything else that is settled in there, replace it with rock, and then it would function again over time.
And we know and I drove down there personally myself and looked. I'm aware there's no really curbs or sidewalks in that area. But let's talk about the front of with potential ditches or anything like that. Has that been discussed for the lot owners, homeowners at first?
Yeah, so that is a good point to note. The design of the stormwater will be in ditches. It's ditch section road. There will be culverts at each driveway. And those ditches also act as infiltration opportunities for the storm drainage. They are at a little bit lower grades than the existing grades that are out there because of the DOT design requirements. We can't have really steep roads. We could have steeper roads, but it wouldn't help as far as the stormwater, the velocity of moving. So we've got to slow it down through ditches and putting curbs and gutters and tightening everything speeds the water and makes it more of a challenge to slow it down.
My last question is, the easement behind on Taylor, to the neighbors that are facing Taylor, how much easement between will there potentially be with the lots that you're developing?
So right now, there is a rear yard setback, that there would be no activity inside that rear yard as far as the principal structure. And I believe it's 45 feet.
It's 45, 25. It varies 25, 25,
Can y'all speak up a little bit? We can't hear hardly a thing.
The back of the I was talking about the lots on Taylor, that
There's
sits
the
back
building
facing
on
Taylor.
that, yeah.
So I was asking about the easement between the homes facing Taylor and the new lots that would be developed. So he brought the point of, it's on the drawing here, there is an easement of, it's like 54.41 on this, I guess this would be lot number 3. Am I correct on that?
That's actually the width of the lot.
Okay,
So
so-
this is actually, it's a 25-foot front yard rear yard setback. And
Right.
a 40-foot front yard setback.
Right, but as far as it goes to the next lot on Taylor, the easement after your lot ends, because your lot ends here, correct?
Correct.
So how much of an easement between the other lot will there remain?
So there'll be a 25-foot rear setback between the proposed homes and the property.
Well, that would, right, but after the property line, going to the next property line, how much easement would remain between Taylor's, like the homes facing Taylor, and these homes getting developed? Do you know that answer by chance?
There's probably not any.
I
Those
don't
are
think
probably
there's any
common lot lines.
That's what I was wondering. How
Just
much-
because it's a subdivision.
Right.
Doesn't mean there's any buffer.
Yeah.
I mean, because this is low density, and it's not like the Oaks where you all have
Correct.
buffer between you and the other surrounding areas. I would suspect there's no buffer here.
there's
And
not
the
planted.
reason I'm
Okay.
saying that
Okay.
is down on Woodfield Drive where I am, and that cul-de-sac, that is a small subdivision.
Right.
But on our backside, we have common corners and
Okay.
common lot lines and all that.
Hmm.
Yeah, so the existing lots going back to 1901, some of them have changed a little bit, but there are 6 lots today that we could build on without any asking permission. I can just go get a building permit with getting some sewer extensions done. But trying to look at this holistically, adding one more lot to the 6 that we purchased, it's the design we come up with. But no, there's not an additional easement beyond just the property.
You should, I believe in the packet, there's a copy of the
Yes, right.
existing lot configuration, which is from the GIS.
Mhm.
Now, how large in between the two houses will those walls or those, the rocks be off of each one of the properties?
So that it'll be at least 5 feet off
Okay.
of the structure itself.
Right,
And then I think there's a 10-foot side yard.
yeah, 10 feet.
So there's
So-
10 feet on each side, that's 20, so that
Right.
it would fit in between them.
So the trenches are roughly 4 to 5 feet wide.
Okay.
That would be on each individual lot.
Right.
And 5 foot off of that would be
Right.
the beginning of one house, and
And 5
then
feet
10
off
feet
the other.
off the other. So
Okay,
40
and
feet.
how deep approximately would they be?
They're roughly 4.5 to 5 feet deep.
Okay, and then when you talk about the lid model that you're going off of?
Correct, low impact design.
Yes, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
We're good?
Yes, so instead of doing, why would it not be an ideal situation to have those run with, say, the tubing that goes into where the end roads are, with possible, just the sewer line of going out instead of having it just sit there in between the homes?
So the sewer line is a sanitary sewer line.
Oh, okay.
And so the sanitary sewer has got to be separate from the storm sewer.
I got you, okay.
And the stormwater, the requirements for piping stormwater basically adds, as I mentioned earlier, velocity to the water leaving the site, where we'd have to build a larger pond to take care of that.
I got you, so it will be purified because of, I got you, okay. I understand. And then, in regards to making it an HOA, the homeowners would pay that fee would the developer be the owner of that HOA, or would you turn it over to the homeowners? And them paying that fee into being an HOA, they're not going to be able to pay enough for annual fees to be able to maintain that kind of an expense.
So as I mentioned before, so the HOA can cover lots of different things. It could cover maintenance of front yards. They could have maintenance of the entire property where the houses sit. They could various different things. We're looking to have a somewhat affordable house under $300,000 as far as the purchase price, but the initial funding for the future replacement would be the responsibility of the developer, and we're willing to commit that up front. And then we, as a developer, we're not looking to manage it. We're looking to turn it over to the homeowners and have them manage it moving forward.
Okay, so the developer will have enough funds in there to make sure that that's covered. You said, I believe, 10 or 15 years to have that reestablished and taken care of.
Correct.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the board?
I'm curious about what you said about not having the emergency traffic turning around in a cul-de-sac. So you're going to have that between lots 5 and 6?
Yes, ma'am. Part of the reason that design, instead of between 6 and 7, having it a little bit further back up, was one, talking with the county fire marshal, that if a large fire truck would come down, it would be nice to have plenty of room to back up and maneuver.
I'm just trying to figure out where they're going to get that room, because I was just down there.
Well, he
So-
said just a hammerhead, right?
Right.
Not a cul-de-sac, just a
Right.
hammerhead.
So you pull in and then you back up.
Right.
But I think he didn't want to be too close to the end.
So if you see today, the road there is just a small driveway. And there is a 30-foot or 35-foot right-of-way that was dedicated, was never accepted, I guess. Public right-of-way, it served with the public sewer and storm drainage that goes down that public right-of-way. We're looking to add 15 feet from the property we purchased to expand that right-of-way and build the road to DOT specs.
Last question.
Sure.
Sorry. So if you're to do away with the curb and not have that, what will it look like in front of these houses? Even though like the driveway goes out and you're going to have the runoff of between the houses, what will that look like then going to a road?
As you drive Zion Street today, there are several houses that are on what's called a ditch section road. We would simply have grass coming up to the edge of the pavement.
Okay, just that?
Just that.
Okay.
But you said you would run the ditching through the front though, for that, as well as the drains that you're talking about on the front of those lots, on this Laurel Street side.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
And they'd be grassed.
It would be grass. So we would have to have pipes under the driveway.
That's what I was getting at, yes. Okay.
I think they're actually called driveway culverts.
Driveway culverts.
Like in the old days.
Well, they have some, sometimes less It's better than more, and I don't know. It's worked for a while.
Many years.
Citizens, if they have any questions, because I see some neighbors out there. And I think before we make our decision, we ought to hear from them. Is that allowable?
It's your meeting.
Okay, I'm gonna open the floor for any citizen comments. And don't run the podium. One at a time, please.
Yeah, one at a time, and
I'm
let me
not
get
shy.
your names and where you are.
I'm Joy Bryan, 409 North Zion Street.
Pull that down.
Gotta get you on the microphone.
And are you D?
RYE.
Okay.
Okay, I have questions because I am the one on the other side of the creek. That lot, if you've seen it, because it sounds as though y'all have been around it just recently, you know the fall of the land. That to me is an extreme concern because we know, my husband and I know the way that the creek fills up just from the runoff from the rest of the town, because it comes under the road and through, goes right in between us, goes out to the creek, Grants Creek. When it's really bad raining, that is just, it's all over the place. I have a question about, it bothers me to know that all of, I don't know, I can't fathom how these houses are going to be placed, and for us to look out our window and see the back sides of homes, that's what's in my head, that are with the ground at a slant, and knowing that this water that is going to be coming, down from the skies, if we have it, or watering, that's going to run off into the back of, into our lot. And to me, it bothers not knowing what could happen or how far that will come up into our lane, because, that at grade where the creek is, it'll go right up to our, hasn't yet, but it possibly could go up like farther up to our back door. And we have like a system, a B-draw system that has a runoff. It will not have a runoff, it sounds like, anymore, because there's not going to be much of a creek. How are those houses going to be placed? Are they going to be the backside showing up against Taylor Street? How is that going to look?
Yes.
Wonderful. I also can't quite fathom how you're going to have a development in that small of an area. This property was family property. Goes back a long, long time, obviously, and these lots were divided up into fairly good-sized sections. We've been an established neighborhood for a long time with this amount of property beside of us, and it's a quality place to be. Now you're going to come in and plop a whole bunch of houses in one little place. First of all, it's going to completely take away any of our value to our homes. It just will. It isn't an ample enough spot to spread out, so it's going to be on top of each other. And if you've seen the land, you saw how narrow the lot is. So you squeeze that many houses in, they're going to have to be spitting houses. Spit out the window and hit the next one. And that to me is not just, that does not fit the look of our neighborhood. And it just doesn't seem like that is going to benefit anybody, because I'm afraid that the people that will be moving into those, they're not going to be nice homes for them too. I'm not saying the homes will be nice, that's what I'm saying. I'm just saying that the neighborhood itself, I just don't understand how you can have a development within that area and it not cause issues for other people. Specifically, us and Paul being on that side of the slope, because we know how bad that slope is. I can't see how you're going to build houses to fit that area. my 2 cents. I just don't see that it would help. I know it would really tear up our, the neighborhood's prices of their homes. If it was out in, you know, had a bunch of, you know, a couple more lots or a couple more spaces, like from that lot over to the end of the Taylor Street where our house is, I could see more homes being there, but that many and squished up, I'm just hoping that it just doesn't happen. Thanks, guys.
Now, I have a question. I have never been over there, and I'm just asking this because I've not been over there. And you say a slope.
It's
Now-
like this.
Okay. My question would be, how much grading is going to be done off of that slope?
Sure. So, I will share that, Mike was on. I will share that while we're not trying to change the zoning to do anything but what the existing zoning allows for in this part of the town. And if the town members want to change the zoning so we don't have the houses at 8,000 square foot lots, and that's, we can do that. But all we want to do is play by the rules of what exists today. Regarding the slope of the grading, there will have to be fill to be brought in to build the houses we envision. They're not going to be filled all the way to the property line. We are looking to protect parts of the creek and less impact. If you look at the grading plans, I can bring those and share those with you, and share those with the town board members. But there is planned grading of fill to be brought in, and there will be a steeper slope at the back side of the house to where it comes down to the natural area where the existing creek runs.
So that sounds like a lot more of a runoff for us than other.
So again, I tried to speak earlier about the stormwater plan we have. Instead of having a pond, the stormwater design requirements that the pre-development conditions that exist today with woods and slope has to meet the storm for the 2 and the 10-year storm. Sometimes we get lots more storm than 2 or 10-year intervals. If it's a 50-year storm, everybody's in trouble, or a 100-year storm. But the consistent storms that cause significant erosion are the 2 and the 10-year storms. And those will be abated with these stormwater measures we're planning. So that the pre and the post-development water runoff will be the same for the design conditions with what the engineering calls for us to move forward.
But with the trees gone and everything's cleared, it to me seems like that's just more runoff to come because there's nothing stopping it. I know up on the top of the hill, you may have that
I
under
think you may
control.
need to come up here if you want.
They're trying to record everything, Joyce, so if you'd come up to the mic, please.
And my husband was just asking again, making sure how many you were planning to put in the houses.
There were 7.
7 houses in that area.
What's the
Have you looked at the neighborhood? I'll come out there.
I was curious, can you give us an idea of the square footage of those houses?
My belief is they're going to range from 1,800 to 3,000 square feet.
May I ask, are they going to be brick homes or siding homes or what's going to be upstairs?
I'm not sure at this point as far as the exteriors. We just know that as far as the size of the lots and for the development cost, the planning is going to be, I can tell you as far as the price point, is looking to be in the 200.
Very similar to the Landis.
2 to 300.
To our community of what's Landis. It's very similar.
According to our lots, and ours is close to 400.
Just what we're trying to differentiate though, what y'all have there compared to.
That's my point, yeah. Just want me to
Yes,
know
ma'am.
that that's.
We understand.
So my thing is, I understand what you're talking about with the drain, the drain. I got that part, I have that. But when you take away all of the trees, you take away all of those roots, all of that grass, you can't tell me that that's not going to create more of a runoff down to the creek. So how are you going to backfill and still not have more runoff. I get the part where it's gonna be a top probably where all the grading is, or where the grates will be. I understand that part. But there's nothing to stop them in the backside for the runoff to come without it going down on us for all practical purposes, because the creek is not that wide or deep, so it would flood the creek, it would flood us. That's what I'm curious about.
So, all I can share is that the design for the land is not forcing water beyond where it's been going for eternity. And even though there's a lot of water coming further upstream that passes underneath Zion, there's a pretty large storm pipe there, and all we're responsible for is the water on our property, that we're not adding to any more stormwater issues from this.
Yeah, I know you're not adding it, but you're taking away, which is going to create more, not necessarily the stormwater, but it is going to create more runoff. There's no way it can't, because of the severity of the slope. I mean, we've always thought about how could anybody ever build on that lot. Now I'm curious how you're going to build that many and it look nice and be a benefit.
Yes, my name is Tabitha Stewart, and I live at 309 North Zion Street.
309 North Zion?
Yes.
So you live
I live
a
one,
block?
there is a lot, my neighbor that's not here tonight lives on the opposite side of the lot that he's going to build on. First of all.
Is that Taylor, on the Taylor side?
Are you on the
North
Taylor
Zion?
side?
No, I live on North Zion.
She's on the Laurel side.
On Bloom.
Yeah, okay.
So first of all, I would like to say that I'm a North Carolina realtor, so I'm very aware of property value and how everything goes. My husband and I bought that house that we live in 4 years ago. Our house appraised last year for close to $400,000. So my big concern is that all the houses in that neighborhood are on an acre or more. Our house sits on 3 acres. And now that we're going to bring a development in there that's going to put 7 houses on probably 0.3, and it's going to be like a jigsaw puzzle in an existing neighborhood that has been there before I was even born by DC Land. And the neighborhood is established with big, beautiful trees, and that's a huge concern to me. Another huge concern is the traffic now that's going to come in with 7 more homes. The roads cannot take that. I mean, you can't even take 2 cars up and down Zion. One has to pull over so the other one can come. And my big concern is, and I really think more research needs to be done, is the road that y'all keep pertaining to, that is a city road, Laurel. That road has been maintained since I have lived there now by Tricia and Steve Hall. And there is records, if you go back and look, that DC Land put that driveway, it's never been called a road, it's always been called a driveway. That driveway was put in for Tricia and Steve's house. There is records of that, if that is research. But I'm just asking as a resident that our neighborhood, it would be like coming and building the Empire State Building in the middle of downtown Landis. Do we want that? I know the residents of our community don't. And the other thing is, the residents of our community don't even know this is happening. I think at this point, the only ones that know are myself, my husband, the Dries, and the Locklears. And Steve, my neighbor didn't even know this was going on until I contacted him 2 days ago to tell him. And he could not be here because he already had prior commitments. But again, like as a realtor, they're going to kill the value of our home. You can't go put a $200,000 home beside a $400,000 home. 7 of them. And I know the Locklears beside of me, their house would appraise way over 400. I know Joey's down the street would appraise over that. So there's just a lot of concerns. The main thing is the roads. Again, like I said, you can't get 2 cars up and down Zion. You have to pull off and back on it. So thank you for letting me say my 2 cents.
Thank you.
I may need to get you to spell your first name.
Tobitha.
Real quick.
Go, Julie.
I won't talk long, I promise.
Go,
I
Julie.
just wanted to add that, Joy Drive again. I just wanted to add too that this was like my husband's family, that whole area was my husband's family. You know, that's, yeah, it was. I mean, and so all of these lots at one point belonged to them. And the house that Tabitha was referring to that has the driveway there.
It's not a road, it's a driveway.
It is not a road. It was actually built by was that DC that built that one? DC for my mother-in-law, Sarah. So we know that that was there for a reason, that drop. So just to clarify that. And, you know, so all of those little houses, a lot of those houses, DC lived behind us. So, you know, we know DC did not and would roll over and over in his grave if he knew that this was happening. And I'm sure that he is, and he's rolling right now. Because to know that his piece of heaven, because he had the horseshoe around us, to be brought down like this and to be put that many houses on and literally torn up, that's just not what DC would ever think about doing. Just have to throw that in there. Thank you.
One other important thing I do know that before this land was sold by the city, that a friend of Tricia and Steve offered the city $35,000 to build one house on that lot. And the city refused that buyer. And they were going to, as good friends of Tricia and Steve Hall, they came to the city, they approached the city, and if anything at this point, I know the residents of my town are willing to get together and to buy this land to keep this from happening.
Would have in the beginning if we known about it.
Right.
The price that it was sold at.
David, with all that being said by the homeowners around, have you heard anything from the homeowners before tonight of the concerns with this and all the previous plannings for this? And because
we didn't know
about it. We
Right.
had no idea.
So normally,
public knowledge.
I would just say normally for a by right, this is called a by right subdivision. This is the zoning that is allowed by the town for these number of houses on this amount of property.
Right, but the lot was sold to you by the town for a price that was not supposed to be. It was supposed to be sold. There was particular instructions from DC Land that lot had to be sold for a certain price by the town. Number one, the lot was sold to you way under that value. So something got twisted along the way.
I can't go into that history. All I can share is what we are planning are homes that is supported by the current zoning ordinance.
But when you build a home, you go in and you stay at the same value. Are you going to make them all around $400,000? Are you going to build them all brick?
I can't speak for what the home. So I work for a developer. Developer then sells lots to home builders. And in the event when we develop the lots, we could enter discussions. But normally, for a subdivision plan, it's working within the guidelines that are set forth by the county. And
right, and I understand that completely, but as a real estate agent, the biggest purchase a person ever does in their life is purchase a home. And that's a big value that we all have in our home. And for you to say that you're going to come in, when you first spoke a few minutes ago, you said you were going to build a house $300,000. And then you got back up here and you went down to $200,000.
I said in the 200.
By the time you start building, are they going to be $150,000? You can't guarantee me that, though, because you just said that you bought that land. You buy the land and you're going to give it to another developer.
Tabitha, you got to move to the mic, please.
They're trying to record everything,
Oh,
so it's about.
I have a loud voice, so I
It's
didn't
all
hear
right.
it. It's just, I know as residents that we are very concerned because this was never brought to our attention. We all heard about it through a third party. And, I mean, I have a lot in stake. I have a $400,000 house sitting right up the road that's on 3 acres with a pool in the backyard, full brick. Are you gonna build stuff the same to that right down the street? That's gonna be a great comp for me? Because if I go to sell my house is not gonna comp at the appraised value when I have $150,000 or $200,000 sitting down the street. And I'm not a stupid person, I'm a realtor. I comp houses every day.
I'm a realtor as well.
Right, so you know, it's not gonna work.
How much total land is in there for these 7 houses?
1.8 acres. Each lot will be quarter of an acre.
1.8,
Approximately.
and each lot's what?
Or close to a quarter of an acre. Correct.
And I have over probably 3.5 acres total for my house.
I mean, I'm trying to hear everybody's side of this, and I'm trying to play devil's advocate for both sides, because believe me, I can appreciate how much your houses are worth. And unfortunately, he did buy fairly the property. Of course he did.
No, that's not what I mean, it's like,
I'm just saying, they wouldn't have sold it to him unfairly, obviously.
Depends on who was in office at the time.
I mean, he has it, he bought it, it's his land. So, I mean, we can't argue with him in regards to that, okay, it's his property. So arguing with him is not gonna get us anywhere with that.
And I agree with you totally about that, but there is no way you can build 7 houses on a little over an acre of a lot.
I suggest you just go look at it, you'll see. You'll understand what we're talking about.
I totally do, and I understand, and
And then put yourself in our shoes.
Oh, trust me, I've been in your shoes.
Because I think they should too, but, because I don't think that you particularly you wouldn't care for living in a house with backside of all these homes when your value's gonna shoot right down.
Yeah, someone else would like that.
My name's Gary Martin. I live at 301 South Central.
Gary Martin.
Get your name, sorry. Gary J. I'm sorry.
The 2 houses is being built on 2 separate lots. I used to own a lot. The town told me, because I was going to donate it to my son. The town told me that there was not enough space in between the lots to put a modular home. Well, now they're going to build 2 houses. The lots are 50 by 100 and something long, and the other lot is a 50 by maybe 100. Now, how they get involved with it? The state law says that you got to be 10 feet off the corners of a house. You measure these lots. There's no God-given way that them houses are going to be 10 feet off the corners of the house. Now, how they get involved with it? I want to know this.
So, the lot design is 70 feet wide. The lot design is 70 feet wide with 10-foot side coverage, and there's a 50-foot building.
And that is within our subdivision restrictions for our RA community.
You saying the lot's 70 foot, the lot's 50 foot, 50 by 150 long. Now how you gonna get 70 out of it? What you doing? You taking somebody else's space? You cutting, otherwise this lot.
Pardon me, are you
You're not
talking
talking
about
about
this
this.
project or a different project?
No, I'm talking about a different project.
Well, he's not in
That's not
with
the
that.
issue
He's
here.
not in with that.
Okay.
Okay, so we're gonna take a vote.
Right.
On what we have right now.
Okay, so you all see the options for voting. We can either approve it, send it to the town board,
I wonder how they get by with it.
turn it down. But if we turn it down, we have to give a reason.
So I think turning it down and tabling it to some more discussion. I think turning it down and tabling it for discussion. And, Further discussion?
Wait.
Yeah. I did.
No.
Discussion.
And make it, you're recommending to the board, so therefore you can, if you want additional information.
Yes. Okay. I agree.
Yeah.
So I entertain a motion?
Yeah.
Does somebody have a motion?
A motion that we table this for further discussion.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. Kim?
I did.
Okay, so, the review of this the preliminary review of this subdivision has been tabled till further discussion before we decide to send it or not send it to the town board.
Do we need to see
We're
it?
talking about for April?
That's fine.
Yes.
That's fine.
That's our next one, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So according to our two options.
We have two options before us, is that correct?
You said we have the two options in front of us. So technically it would be.
It's on page
we're-
3.
Yeah, we're not recommending approval at this time because we're going to table it.
Well, you're just gonna table it. for
Right,
further
so that,
discussion.
yeah.
You don't have to do anything.
Okay, perfect.
And we're going to 14 as scheduled.
As scheduled for April.
14?
Yeah, April
21st.
Oh, April 21st.
Oh,
It's
21st.
the third, that's the third.
Oh, we moved to the third. Okay, my apologies.
Just the third Tuesday.
That's the third Tuesday, so the second Tuesday.
When Brandon is here, he's going to contact
My apologies.
the third Tuesday.
So on that, I make a motion, we,
21st.
with no further business, I make a motion.
There's some other stuff
Oh,
on the agenda.
I missed it. My
What
apologies.
can adjourn?
Yeah, let's get that, yeah.
Can we adjourn?
Oh, sure.
No, that's citizens.
I'm sorry.
Stay in front of the Item number 6, we're still under new business. Shelley, review the board's rules of procedure.
Right, I provided it's really just for information. I know we were gonna try to keep the meeting at reasonable time, so I don't know if you were aware of this. They got a little age on, but 20-something years old. But it's one of the things that, you can change, although you're not at full strength. But this is supposed to be your roadmap, because one of the things is, maybe elect, new chairman and vice chairman or something like that. I don't see where it has to be done tonight. It was strictly for information. I already got everything I needed, which was the new contact information.
So this is just our FYI.
I didn't know that if you've ever seen it before. I think some of you may have seen it a while ago.
It's been a long time.
I don't think.
Been a
I
while.
have.
This is in your ordinance book.
So we're going to just keep it.
And I didn't know if there was anything else that you wanted to talk about or, you wish to discuss. I don't want to overload you with too much, but there was state legislation that was passed in July that revamped the state enabling legislations for zoning and subdivisions. And so, Landis you're going to have to make some changes to your zoning ordinance. It's going to be fairly extensive, but I'm just giving you an FYI. Maybe it'll be put off because it's supposed to come in effective January of 2021. Maybe it'll be, but I did want to talk about what's called 160D. That's it's the enabling legislation. Currently, cities are under the 11th and that's from the 1920s. It's called 160A, and they combine the cities and the county legislations into one enabling statute, kind of reorganize things. But it can make some changes, one of which is your ordinance, you have conditional uses, they'll have to be changed to special uses. some of it's not really big, but some of it may be big. But you've got that to look forward to. And I guess the only other thing is you do need some new board people. They are appointed by the town board. I would encourage you, I talked to somebody today, to encourage people to apply to the board or make known to the town board that they are interested in serving on it. It can be interesting, it can be challenging, but you know, I appreciate you people giving up your time to do this, but it can be kind of exciting sometimes. A lot of you have been on for a while, because I remember you from 2011, so I know it's all deja vu kind of sometimes.
I think I've been on here since 2004.
And I know Mr. Brown has been on for a long time too.
Yeah, she first started.
I do have another engineer that is interested, so I will send you information.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
His intelligence would be.
Okay, guys, any other discussion?
Now I can make the motion to adjourn.
Okay, Kim second, and all in favor?
Aye.
Go home.
Everybody stay well.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Stay well.